All right, guys, so the markets are moving like crazy, and what we have today is DavinciJ15, our very special guest, team member and everything, back in our show. He will exactly share his opinion on that crazy Bitcoin move within the last few days and even like month already. He will share his opinion on the current market situation right now. He will update us on his Ethereum view because he is very bullish currently. He will tell you exactly where he might be scaling into Ethereum, where he might be scaling out, and also we will share his view on the Litecoin perspective. We won't tell you, but there is something crazy coming up in the near or midterm future, so make sure you stay here to get all those updates. And in the end, we are very happy to announce that we will have a special guest, actually his professor, his mentor, his teacher for trading, for all things trading, everything he learned in trading. He will be as a special guest in our show, sharing his own views on everything we say here because he is listening already. So guys, make sure you stay here, make sure you smash up the like button. And now I'm talking a lot. Without any further ado, we want to go into the most important question of today. Da Vinci, we hope the answer is good. How are you doing today, my man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking, Chris. I mean, my leg's always getting better every day, and I'm really happy about that. And hopefully, I need to start walking more so that I can really exercise my foot so that it heals a lot faster.
Yes, man. Yes, and if you look into the comment section of the last videos, everyone is the whole time saying, "Okay, Da Vinci, please let your leg come to a 100%." Everyone wants you to heal very fast, and we are very happy that you are almost there, like at 96% already. So, guys, make sure you smash up the like button. The more likes come in, the more percentages you will throw on Da Vinci's leg, and the faster he will get to 100%. So that's the game. That's the rule. Also, guys, we will start with the content right now. Leave all your favorite altcoins in the comment section down below. We will start considering them again. Do not shill, do not troll, only leave your altcoins and maybe attach the reason why you want us to cover it. And now, Da Vinci, we can start with the first point of today, your view on the crazy Bitcoin situation. We had the huge up spike to 6,300, 6,400 almost. So what's your view on that before we go into the even crazier stuff, Ethereum and Litecoin?
Well, my first thing is, boy, wow, oh my God, like this is great. You know, everybody loves the bull market, right? Nobody complains on the bull market. And I'm waiting for, I am waiting for lower prices. They will come. Unfortunately, I might have to be moving my buy order a little bit higher. I don't know. We have to wait and see.
Exactly.
But that's okay. That's okay. You know what? And let me show you why it's okay, right? Because like if we take a look on the big picture of Bitcoins, right? What's the big picture? It's right here. This is the big picture of Bitcoin. If you draw your fibs from the very beginning, right, you can see, right, from the top here to bottom down here, you can see that this is the trading location. This is where you would actually want to buy for a long-term buy and hold. So if you're one of those people that are taking money out every paycheck and buying here, and yes, we're in the nosebleed section. No doubt about that. You can see that Bitcoin is way outside of its, on this weekly chart here that we have, it's outside the Bollinger Band. That's not a good sign for a continuation. Could it possibly go higher? Yes, it is possible. Can go higher. Based on the Bollinger Band, just because it's outside the band doesn't mean it's not going to go higher. It's not going to stay outside of the band for a very long time. So it might consolidate and then continue going higher. But here's the thing: the probability of it continuing, like us having a nonstop crazy rip roaring bull,
it's like
we did 2017, it's just not probable.
Yes.
It's possible, but not probable, right?
Yeah.
So be careful. If you're doing short term, if you want to put your rent money in, you saw the Bitcoin taking off, you don't want to miss out, and you're thinking, I'm just gonna throw my rent money because next month it's gonna be even more. Don't do that. Don't do
So,
that.
so you want to basically say, and we are here in the very long-term trade location, and we have been pulling that up since weeks, since month already. You want to say basically, for everyone who wants to buy right now, it's fine, but only if you are willing to hold for a long term, because this is the long-term trade location. If you are trying to outperform the market in the short and midterm, this might be basically not the perfect timing to buy in, especially at the market prices right now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Even though looking at the charts here, let's take a look at the shorter 4-hour charts. Uh, you can't get in front of this train. Even though we've completed an AB, what I consider to be the AB equals CD, and I'm sure Brian's going to have something completely different from me, and that's okay because everybody looks at the market differently, and no two people will look at the market and see the same thing.
Yeah, that will be
And
interesting.
and it's just based on everything you've learned and how you perceive what the market is, how the market works is how you should trade, because you know what, you should be comfortable with how you perceive the market and trade with your perceptions, and if it's working for you, you go right ahead.
So
um yeah,
I
what did you
just
say?
wanted to jump in because you mentioned the AB equals CD. Maybe not everyone knows what it is. I guess you just draw a line from the temporary bottom to the temporary top, and then with the same length, you replicated that line, and you did it again with the same slope to figure out where the D will be. So AB
Yeah, so this
equals
would be
CD.
A bottom. Yeah, that's correct. That would be A. This would be A. This would be B. This would be C, and this is D up here.
So what's
So
the
that's
level
what the
for
AB
D?
equals CD,
What's the price
right?
level for D? Did we already surpass it, or?
Yeah, we're already past that, and we're already like, okay, screw that. We bounced off of it.
Now it's even acting as support, kind of, man. It's
And
crazy.
it's, yeah, exactly, acted support. So it's not. It looks like we are going even higher.
Yeah.
Where we're going to, I'd have to do some little bit more analysis on that. I would say that we're definitely going to have to come into this area here, this area where there's a lot of a trading activity. That's where we're probably really gonna see some serious resistance
Yeah.
in the 6,500 level, because there's just so many people that purchased here thinking that, yeah, this is the bottom, and then it dropped 50%. And you know what? They're probably sleeping on the couch, and their wives don't want them to come back to bed. And so they're praying up here saying, hey, if Bitcoin gets up to 6,500, I'm going to sell. I'm going to hit the
Yeah.
sell button. They're going to sell and dump this market probably. Who knows, right?
So you don't think
Maybe
they will
JP Morgan.
hold they will hold on and FOMO because they want to make their wife even proud, jumping out of the market in a profit? That's not possible?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Usually, this is how the market works, right? Whether it's the person doing that or not, the market generally works this way, where when previous support becomes resistance, and there has to be, unless JP Morgan decided, okay, yo, screw it, we're buying this shit because we know the dollar's collapsing. Right? They're going to be waiting down here to be buying, because this is always going to happen. Well, not always, right? I mean, it's just a natural course of the market where we've already broke this resistance, and now I mean, we broke the support, and now we're coming back up to this, and it becomes resistance, and it's just a natural part of it. Is it possible that this time is different? Yes. Is it likely that it's different? No.
History always rhymes. So what you are talking here about is obviously this huge support back in the days, which is now resistance. And everyone who is interested in that, you can see that on TradingView. If you have the pro version, you can just type in VPVR and you will see the volume profile. and you can actually see that there is a huge resistance due to the big volume which was accumulated, and we checked that throughout 11 different monthly candles. That's crazy. Within 11 monthly candles, we touched that prices of 6,400 and 6,500. So that's actually really a very big resistance. So now coming to the end of your Bitcoin view, what's actually your game plan right now? Are you sitting on your hands? Are you waiting for things to happen so you can react to the market, or do you already have a game plan set right now for your Bitcoin trading portfolio? Hence, still you have your holding portfolio of Bitcoin you are holding on like for a very long time. But for your trading portfolio, what's your game plan right now?
Well, I'm waiting. I have some cash. Still, I have lots of cash waiting to see if this market rolls over. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I mean, I'm not going to cry over it. I sold this cash at well over $17,000 for Bitcoin, so I'll be all right.
And you bought at $1, so it's fine. But still, some people, your profits are way off. But still, some people are maybe sad. Oh, hey, I expected Bitcoin to roll all over at 5,000, and this is very understandable. But guys, we always said, I mean, there was sometimes in some scenarios the lower probability actually happened, and we are also kind of surprised of that huge bull run, we have to admit that. But nevertheless, we always told you, don't stand on the sideline completely, guys. You will miss out on the moonshot when it comes. If you don't believe us, we will pull out some of the times we said that, and we said it a lot of times. But yes, it is very sad. Also, we were kind of surprised from that huge bullish movement right here. So you would actually do you would wait for the market to do something. If it stays above, you said you will scale in, and yeah, maybe buy at prices even above 6,000, but you are still expecting a pullback, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if JP Morgan was seriously going to buy this stuff, or some sort of large market participant, I'm just calling out JP Morgan because they hated it.
I know.
And then they ended up buying anyways. And they kept this market here for quite some time, and it would draw out some sort of like Wing pattern, so we'd see it coming from a long way away if the market really wanted to bottom right here and stay here and bottom and then take a next leg up. So we're gonna wait for that. If not, right, it's gonna roll over, and then I'll be able to buy later down here probably.
So you are still looking at the 4,200 level. If it rolls over, you are still looking at the 4,100 to 4,000 something ish level.
Yeah, the 4,200 level is where I'm looking to start buying. I still believe in that a rollover will be coming. It's the most likely probability, and yeah, so that's what I'm waiting for. If it doesn't come, it doesn't come. The market will tell me what to do next, and I will listen to what the market has to say, and that's it. That's Perfect. All I can do.
Perfect. So that's the perfect game plan. And for everyone out there, we really want to mention something in the end. So if you have your holding portfolio and you decide to gamble a bit, outperform the market, and you are educating yourself also with that episode, for example, take that into consideration, make your own research, and base your actions upon your own research and the information you are getting here and your objective consideration of those information you were getting from us. So always consider that, because remind yourself, if you are standing on the sidelines completely and only listening to other people, once the huge moonshot comes and Bitcoin goes to like, I don't know, 350,000, equaling up with the gold market cap, is it really so important whether you bought in at 6,000 or 5,000? Is that really important, guys? We don't think that's really important. So it's no financial advice, but you should always have something like a long-term holding portfolio you will never ever touch no matter what. And then if you want to outperform the market, always base it upon your own research, guys. So that being said, DaVinci, thank you so much for sharing your insights on the Bitcoin market. It sounds really reasonable. It's nothing like moon boyish, like some people are already starting talking about $15,000 US, $20,000 US in the short term. Thank you so much for that. get for that reasonable market insights from you. So now we can get into the very exciting stuff. We can get into Ethereum and Litecoin. And let me mention that the time is already kind of running out, but we still have like a lot of like 6-7 minutes for that. So can you maybe update us on your thoughts on the Ethereum market and on the Litecoin market? And we can tell you guys already, it's mind-blowing. It's really, really exciting to hear that. We heard it already.
Thanks, Chris. I know. Sorry, I've noticed that we prepared we took a long time to prepare this episode, I will keep my analysis of Litecoin and Ethereum a little shorter than normal. So, anyways, let's head over to my Litecoin chart here. I am interested in the Litecoin BTC. The reason why is because with the little old lady strategy, I believe in Bitcoin's dominance. And you can see that with Bitcoin increasing in value over and over, higher than almost other altcoins. And I believe that one day that you should be cashing out into Bitcoins. Now, whether that's going to be the truth in the future is remains to be seen. But I do believe that it is going to happen. And I think in the next bull run, if you're cashing out into Bitcoins, you'll have a lot of money. So that's why I like the little lady strategy, purchasing lower in Bitcoin, priced in Bitcoin, and then selling half on a double priced in Bitcoin. So looking at this chart here, you can see that Litecoin has topped, it's rolled over, it's broken this trend line in the Bitcoin price. And it's going to give you an opportunity, priced in Bitcoin, to buy in. So that's always a good thing, right? You want to be able to buy something at a lower price in order to sell it at a higher price.
Exactly. So, we like it cheap, Da Vinci. We like it cheap.
So here we are. I mean, honestly, we're almost there. Look at that. If you see, you draw out your fibs, we're at the 61.8. Litecoin has got its halving event coming, so that means it's probably going to outperform Bitcoin in the future. So here you are, ready to almost buy in a little bit, just do a little bit of a nibble here, right? And then you could also set some buy orders down here, where you can see there's a clear Wing pattern right here, and so it probably wants to come down to this 78.6, and also. You could also set your, if you really want to be cheap, you can set it at the 88.6.
Wow.
And buy it down here where there's lots of Wing patterns down here. Mm-hmm. And you can go like a larger percentage of your portfolio way down here in the 88.6.
That would be full on wrecked mode on LTC, man. Like the 88.6, man, for real. Wow. That would be crazy. Just going back to the deep in bear market in December. But that's really cheap. I guess that should be really cheap. No financial advice. So what will be your game plan? Will you be scaling in at the 61.8 level? Will you be starting at the very wreckage level at 88.6? What's actually your game plan on Litecoin?
Well, I like the 61.8. Sorry, and so I do buy a small amount at the 61.8, even though. Sometimes it just doesn't work out, especially when you're doing it for the long term, sell half on a double kind of strategy. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work out, but I don't mind because you know what, when I like the coin, when I like the currency, I don't mind holding it for quite some time and holding it as bag. And besides, it's only a small percentage. And sometimes when it does work out, you feel like the hero.
Yes. We all know that feeling. We all know that feeling, guys.
And you sold half up there, and you're like, oh my God, I'm great.
It's so amazing because basically everything you still have in the market, it's profits. So you will start scaling in at 61.8, and then you will cost average down in case it goes lower. Is that the case?
Okay. Exactly. That's so cool. Looking at Ethereum now, because we're running out of time.
One second.
Oh my God, is a disaster.
Only 1 second. maybe guys, everyone who cannot see the prices, we can also share the setups maybe as a PDF link in our Telegram group. So what you can do is, after you watch that episode and you are exactly interested in the setups of Bitcoin, Ethereum and Litecoin, we will share the PDFs, the links of that setup in our Telegram group. So all you can do, we can do that afterwards, DaVinci.
Okay, sure.
Let's do it afterwards. All you can do, guys, is just go to the description, go to our Telegram group. DaVinci is also there always. When he have like a few seconds of time, he will answer your questions and you will get all our trading setups, so you can basically see the prices exactly also while we are talking about it here in the video. So sorry for cutting you off, but that was very important. And now we can go into Ethereum and your view on Ethereum. And I think it's a little bullish, isn't it, on the US dollar point of view?
Well, I'm still talking about the Bitcoin point of view here, for all these coins, and I'm for this thing here, it's like, oh my God, wow, what a disaster. And I mean, I remember looking at this and discussing this with you right about here, and saying, oh my God, this thing looks like it's gonna die. And I was wondering why that was. Now I think about it, I'm like, duh, it's because Bitcoin's going higher.
Yes. And then, but what we did in that episode is basically we switched over to the Ethereum US dollar chart. So you were bearish on the Ethereum Bitcoin point of view, but on the Ethereum US dollar chart, it was differently, isn't it?
Exactly. But looking at this, if you wanted to nibble this, we're almost there as well. I would say you can go. Let's see here. Let's take a look at a longer term for it. You know what? This is definitely, well, not definitely. It could still go lower here, but the probabilities are. Let's see here. We touched 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Okay, so markets are very stingy. They don't mind giving you 3 chances to get in, but they're very stingy on 4 and 5 chances. And so
you said that before.
And then if they give you too many chances to hit if they make this resistance to hit this resistance level, not resistance but support level too many times, it tends to break. So I would proceed with caution here. It's most likely going to bounce around here, or bounce at the bottom here, or bounce at this bottom down here, right?
Yeah.
But so proceed with caution. It's highly likely we're going to turn around in this, but you have to proceed with caution. It's kind of sad that it broke out from the 200-day moving average, because this is a daily, and then broke down. Mm-hmm. But I think we're going to probably see the bottom coming in on this Ethereum BTC price sometime soon, and it's off to the races with doubles, half on the doubles.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to proceed with caution. But you know what? If you buy down here, and you just buy a little bit, it's okay. It's okay. Because we're at a low price. So we're cheap.
So how is it about cheap? I love it when you say that. How is it about the Ethereum US dollar pairing? And let me say something. Let's say something is bearish on the Bitcoin pairing, but bullish on the US dollar pairing. Usually, you should think about why is that. So if it goes up in US dollar but down in Bitcoin, the implication is that Bitcoin goes even higher in US dollar, and you should also consider maybe scaling into Bitcoin. Just wanted to throw that out there, because some people sometimes are forgetting about that Bitcoin is still king, and that Bitcoin is usually something you should be holding in your portfolio without giving any financial advice. So is it differently in Ethereum US dollar?
Yes, I mean, there's W's everywhere. I mean, come on, you have to be a fool to think that this is not positive, right? There's W's everywhere. I mean, you can't. The little old lady is like licking her chops trying to buy this thing.
Yes.
And
so many W's.
I know, so many W's. It's not funny, and so eventually this thing's going to have to break higher. Now that probably means that if it breaks higher, if it breaks higher fast, this has to turn around. This has to turn around, because if it goes fast, this means it's outperforming Bitcoin. And so I think you could see this thing outperform Bitcoin if this turns around here, and then the dollar price starts going up really rapidly, and that could happen. I mean, this market is only beginning. I mean, a lot of hedge funds, retirement funds, they all want in, and that's a big hose of money and a very small pipe.
Yes. So we actually cannot wait for that to happen. So only as a concluding question, would you so you are bullish on Ethereum, you are also comparably bullish on Litecoin, and on Bitcoin you are long-term bullish. In the mid and short term you are still waiting for the market to move so you can react to that. Also, for Ethereum, would you agree upon what we are saying right now, DaVinci? Would you agree upon that? You would allocate still a smaller portion on Ethereum due to the risk-return ratio compared to Bitcoin, or would you go heavier into Ethereum right now?
I would say that Ethereum is ready to move sometime, probably in the summertime. It generally does not do well in Christmas time, so it might turn around in summertime, autumn time frame, and then I think you can see some serious gains. I think the Bitcoin move is close to over, so this might turn this Ethereum in priced in Bitcoins might turn around very fast in the next month or so.
Okay. So thank you for all your concluding thoughts. Again, guys, for Bitcoin, he is waiting for the market to do something so he can react to it. He is, and we will update you obviously on that. He is bullish on Ethereum and also bullish on Litecoin. On Litecoin also not only due to the technical reasons, also due to the fundamental reasons and the halvening event coming up. So, DaVinci, do you have any concluding thoughts before we bring our very, very special guest, your mentor, your professor, into the show?
Yes, I want to just finish off with Litecoin. I think Litecoin's very bullish on the what's it called, the fundamental analysis with its halvening coming up. And if you were interested in buying, yes, it is a buy, but down here. You don't want to buy up here. It's a little too nosebleedy. And you're too late to party, so you got to wait until it comes to you. You let the market come to you, right, Chris?
Let the market come to you. Exactly, man. We cannot wait for guys. We will have our merch very soon. Are you looking forward to it? We will have T-shirts, hoodies, like glasses with cheap frames of favorite sentences of DaVinci. Let the market come to you. Cheap is our favorite number. We will have a lot of funny stuff, very funny pictures on that from DaVinci and the Crypto crew. So if you're looking forward to that, also let us know in the comment section down below. And now, without any further ado, we cannot actually wait to have our very special guest in our show. His name is Brian Beamish. Some of you guys might already know him, and he is actually the professor who taught DaVinci all those crazy stuff in TA, all those techniques, the W things, the a little old lady strategy, all of that stuff. So we are very happy to welcome Brian Beamish, our favorite and special guest in that episode. So Brian Beamish, may you turn on your camera, may you turn on your microphone. You have watched everything, so now the microphone is left, and once you are talking, you will be big on the show. So how are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. How are you guys doing?
We are doing well. Okay. I mean, you have been listening to everything. You watched our episode. So what we can do basically right now, because you are the expert, you are the OG, the trading OG, you can share your own thoughts on everything we said, your views on the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and also on the Litecoin perspective. And then we can have a discussion and take it forward from there.
All right, sounds good. Generally speaking, it sounds like Dav is playing from a position of strength. right? I think it's really important in this world that you don't chase. So I love to hear your comments about just, don't go and market buy. Don't go and just panic and dump all your retirement savings into an idea. That's just setting yourself up for disaster. On balance, what I see is it looks to me like Bitcoin's trying to re-exert its sort of market dominance. We did have sort of the potential a week or two ago for the market to roll over, but Bitcoin was like, I'm having none of that.
No.
I mean, I'm not quite sure where to start. We have a relatively limited period of time. Do you want me to just jump right into the charts?
Sure.
Yes, let's do that.
Share your screen.
Okay, so I will, and everybody see me. I'll give a big wave to the audience. Hello, everybody.
Also, everybody, let me just show you. Da Vinci is on the top. You can see him right there. I had that hidden, so now the audience can see Da Vinci on the small screen also.
Can you see me screen sharing now?
Yes, we can see it. Let me just adjust.
This is sort of my insane matrix to judge the crypto markets. There's probably way too much information on here to fully explain everything, but basically this is what I teach. And probably the conversation that we want to start off with here is the Bitcoin dominance. The question ultimately, just as of late, was the dominance going to roll over here in sort of a very natural technical level? And as I said just a moment ago, Bitcoin just had none of it and broke out to new highs. And if we look at sort of the crypto market cap, ex-BTC, I guess it's just going sideways. If we include BTC, the crypto market cap is moving higher. We're coming into old resistance levels on the entire market cap. So, based on the fact that this is such a trafficky area, and we see that the alts, they sort of got into this trafficky area and then had to pause. My hunch is that this is basically suggesting that Bitcoin still wants to move further higher. So I just wanted to touch on this sort of dominance, and I think on balance, like you guys had just said a few minutes ago, it's not so much that the altcoins themselves, like Ethereum. I follow a trend following model, and the trend following model actually has a number of altcoins actually flashing bullish trending signals. Interesting, the only ones that haven't joined the party here on my screen right here are things like Ripple and XLM. But interestingly enough, like Ethereum, and these are all priced in US dollars, it actually just joined the bullish camp. So I don't think it's necessarily like when you were looking at pricing versus Bitcoin and things are making new lows. I don't think it's necessarily that the altcoins are forging to new lows versus USD. It's just that Bitcoin is outperforming right now.
Exactly.
And it's just sort of adding to that dominance conversation. I think really that's what's going on in the market right now. If we, I like to actually just take a step back a moment. I'm a big fan of sort of long-term demographic cycles, and so this is just simply last long-term demographic cycle. If we were looking at it in the same perspective, 1979, 1980 was all about commodities, and it was all about futures, and gold and silver were the really hot sort of fear proxies through that cycle. This cycle, I think, was all about crypto, and basically crypto eating gold's lunch, which just pisses off the gold bugs to no end. And it's interesting because basically crypto topped exactly the way it was supposed to based on my fear greed cycle analysis. And we're going through a very natural correction, just like the gold and silver did following its respective cycle performance last cycle. So if we sort of put that into perspective, what should we be expecting, following big blow off tops and then, market melting down? I believe that we're actually in this phase right now here. So like if we look at Bitcoin relative, its 50% level, ironically enough, it's sitting at $10,000. So we could actually see this grind, just like you see how gold did through 1985, 1987, 1989, where it's just this grinding up, just grinds to come up into that 50% level that really technically needed to be done. Could we be here in this cycle? That's definitely possible, but the long and short of it here is, interestingly enough, most people are like crypto winter, they're all going to zero, all that kind of stuff. I think actually that's an old story. Now, and what I actually really like to follow is this analysis. There are a few people on the net that put out these studies of sort of what long-term cycles look like, but I noticed that Bitcoin really likes to follow this sort of 3-year pattern. I'm hearing a bit of feedback there. I don't know whether that's me or not.
Yeah, there's feedback. Can we still go back to the gold charts and so on, because I have a follow-up question on that. It sounds really.
How am I doing on time?
It's fine. But I have because the people will be interested in that. So I think that is very, very interesting to draw that conclusion. Nevertheless, I still see that there is a very big difference in the time span, but as we know, the crypto markets tend to move much, much faster than the traditional markets. So I think that could be an argument for comparing that. And I still see a very big similarity between those charts. You also said that it's not 100% certain whether we are in 1982 in the gold market or in 1985. I think there's one point. Gold had this double bottom and Bitcoin haven't had that double bottom really. So could that be an argument for being in 1982 actually?
Just eyeballing this, I think we probably could make the argument that we're sort of here.
Maybe, yeah.
I think that's perfectly plausible. I guess the point that I was really trying to drive home is if we do 50% levels off of the reaction rally high, back to this low, the 50% level on gold itself at a high like 7.5, and it worked back its way back to this 50% level. That I think is significant resistance.
Yes.
So if we do that same sort of analysis off of Bitcoin, the reactionary high from the top, and then the test of the top and the failure, that was at like 17 grand where Dav said he was selling. If we draw a 50% level down to our recent lows, and this is just, eyeballing, total ballpark.
Yeah.
The point that I would just make is that $10,000 is our 50% level there. And frankly speaking, I think that's a perfectly logical stopping point on this, whatever this sort of ultimate counter trend rally move is.
Wow.
That's probably the biggest sort of takeaway that I would have of this chart analysis. Is I just wanted to mention that it looks to me, like interesting, like Ethereum, that's like $460.
Yes.
So, Bitcoin 6,400, you're not going to get a double there. But interestingly enough, Ethereum, it's actually well over a double still to its 50% level. Yeah. So, and if we had looked at Bitcoin down here at like, $4,000, we go, okay, there's a good double there. Up to 10,000, that makes sense.
Yep. No, perfect. Thanks for answering the question, and it's really reasonable what you are saying. Also, for Bitcoin, due to your theory with the 50%, there wouldn't be a potential double from 6,000 to 10,000, but the risk-return ratio is obviously also different rather than in the Ethereum US dollar chart, where you still have a potential like 2 point something already. But thanks for mentioning that.
The point here is that you're really late to this Bitcoin rally. That's the bottom line, yes. Right? As Dav sort of mentioned earlier, we kind of like W's. W's are our favorite letter of the alphabet, right? And so if we just put this a line chart, you should be able to see clearly exactly where you should have, if you were a bull and wanted to get bullish, right? Where you should have been a buyer. That's like 4,000 and change. So that's sort of that same sort of 2.5 that we're seeing, So at 6,000, the market's already moved up like 50% off of that buy level, right? You can't be a buyer here. You're just asking for trouble. And and this is for investors, right? I mean, I'm looking at a weekly price chart, right?
It's good. I didn't want to cut you off for too long. You still had this other chart you wanted to show us. I
got tons of charts. We're just getting started, but I know we're limited for time, so let's keep moving forward.
Exactly.
This is a 4-year cycle of sort of and I've been studying Bitcoin now in earnest since about 2013. And I've noticed that, the bottom, the consolidation of the bottom, the blow off top, and then the hangover, which happened through 2011 through 2015, we've done almost exactly the same thing this cycle. We have the bottom, the breakout, then the consolidation of the breakout, then the blow off top, and then the hangover. So I see an incredible amount of correlation here. And given that Bitcoin has the built-in halvenings, can you make an argument that the cost of producing Bitcoin changes from cycle to cycle to cycle? And I think you can. So unlike something like gold, right, where you just dig a hole in the ground and, your costs are whatever, your shovels are, Bitcoin doesn't work the same way because of the halvenings. So could we make an argument that, this is the argument that I make, is that we are in what I call chop Vegas right now. I think, Dav even sort of said that, if we look back in the 2015 market, we can get situations where, here are your sort of W's and the market's rocking. And I kind of think we're like sort of sitting in this kind of phase right now. Everything's up. Everybody's like bull, 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 which unfortunately is a little dangerous. Like I said just a few minutes ago, like the actual double bottom levels around $4,000, right, on Bitcoin. Here we are at 6,000. So you're coming a bit late to the party here right now. The point that I would just make is that I do expect some backfilling here. At some point, it's not today. And really, actually, interestingly enough, to actually mark the bottom, what we really want to see is just like we saw here, this was the U.S. Marshal's Office second auction of Bitcoins. And I remember when this happened, we had big run up. This hit an important technical level. It came slamming down into this original bottom, accepted the bottom, and then we started moving higher. So this is the kind of price action that I need to see for us to know that the bottom is in. Right now, I still think we're going through this, and on the site, in my public appearances, I call this Chop Vegas, where we get a lot of choppy price action. Let's keep moving this forward. I haven't got much time, do I?
No, okay. Unfortunately not, man. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. I mean, I love the sound of my own voice, so I have to be careful. Okay, we won't get in. I don't think, a couple of pieces of anecdotal evidence that lead me to believe that we're not in the bull just yet. I like to follow forward and futures spreads, and we're actually trading at, this is what's called backwardization, when the premiums for forward contracts are trading at a discount to the cash market. So as long as this keeps emming out and it keeps pointing down, I don't believe we're in a rip-roaring bull market. And if anything, counter trend rallies, don't chase, don't get sucked into FOMOing. This is a FOMO market. I can feel it. So I will say, though, interesting Dav's comments about Litecoin. You can see Litecoin is trying desperately to base here. We actually do have a little bit of a W, so let's see if we can get back into contango and rock and roll. Ethereum has actually put in a very, very nice base here, and you can see it's trying to accept back into contango. So, and it's interesting because I run like algorithms, and recently my algorithms actually spat out on a risk-reward basis. Like I said, coming to Bitcoin right now, it's very late in the trade. But coming to Ethereum now, you actually have a very well-defined risk window here. And I'm all about risk. Ironically enough, and I teach in my education programs, we as traders, we have to take a risk-first approach. You always have to think about what you're going to risk before you think about what kind of money you're going to make. So I'm a big fan of W's. Remember, we talked about that just a moment ago. And if we look at the W, you can see, remember, Bitcoin price has already moved away from its W. But we can actually see on Ethereum that we're just right at the W level. And keep in mind, this is valued in US dollars. This is not Bitcoin. But in US dollars, Ethereum is just basically right at that level. And I think, Dav, you were saying earlier, I see W's all over the place here. So on balance, I actually, on a risk-reward basis, I actually really like the Ethereum story here right now, which is very interesting. I think that, we had shown you that just a minute ago, that the risk-reward profile on the Ethereum trade looks very attractive to me. The only other thing that I'll mention here before we sort of leave you off, this is a higher time frame weekly full meal deal perspective on the big boys, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. I would say in the short term, first and foremost off these weekly charts, just the most beautiful divergences, huge bullish divergences. And when these divergences actually came in on MACD, a whole bunch, like I was putting out a whole bunch of tweets and stuff about this, and a lot of our Twitter, our alumni, because if you take all three levels of our education program at TRI, you become an alumni on the site. You actually have free access to the site indefinitely. And I actually think you're an extremely valuable person. You actually know what you're doing in the market. And so a lot of our alumni were all going crazy on Twitter when this big weekly divergence. You just don't see weekly divergences every day. This is a pretty rare occurrence. So long and short of it here, and I like to use this modified Williams percentage R indicator to give me overbought and oversold readings. Whenever I get a bullish divergence in MACD histogram with a market that is technically oversold, this actually becomes an extremely powerful signal. And sure enough, right, vroom, off she goes. And as I had said earlier, I think it's actually a little bit dangerous for people to come to the Bitcoin market now thinking that this is a good buy. There is that W way down there, and here we are way up here. And interestingly enough, I also follow a trend continuation model to trade markets that are trending to try and get you in on moves that are a little bit older, right? So there is that big weekly W down here. This is a trend continuation model that I run, and Dav was talking a little bit about earlier, the AB equals CD model. And my AB equals CDs are projecting a price objective up into, and I don't know, actually, it looks like that number is just a little bit off, isn't it? So we should bring that up there. All right, so the AB equals CD right now, its objective is actually 67.23. So for, the nanny nibbles, little old ladies, remember Dav was showing you that long-term accumulation zone? Fantastic, love it, buy it. For the swing traders, we have, this is what I call the bot setup. You can see that, well, you can't because you wouldn't know. But in essence, it issued a buy level at 53.63, and its objective is 6,700. It's at its move stop to trailing level, so all those people that did take this trade, they should be basically, locking in profits now, so way to go. If we zoom out and look at a little bit higher time frame, what's going on here? First and foremost, we have just a simple rule that if you ever see bars that look like this, if we can get up into that area, then our job is to look left. Where was the last time you saw that the market went up and somebody stepped on the market and pushed it back down? And that's that level, that's that level, that's that level, and gee whiz, that's right around the 50% rule of this entire range, which is just technically very normal. As well, AB equals CD, you can see how that AB equals CD move is going to take us into those levels. And then, we have an old expression on the site. I think Dav even mentioned it a few minutes ago, where there were a lot of people that bought Bitcoin in here believing this was the bottom. And of course, the floor falls out of the market. And they're just sitting there going, oh God, please, 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 just bring the market back to these levels. I'll walk away, I'll sell it, I'll never buy another one of these things again, and you can get off of sleeping on the couch, right?
Yeah. So you're basically agreeing on that point of DaVinci, that this is a very big resistance level because people are sitting still on their Bitcoin, having bought during that point of time, and now and then,
You can actually, I think you made reference to the volume profile.
Brian, I also have to cut you off somehow because we are running out of time right now. I just wanted to, I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry. We are already nearly at 1 hour and we are clearly running out of time. But I think you mentioned already a lot of important points. You are more or less agreeing on the Bitcoin perspective and also on the Litecoin and Ethereum perspective. We had more points you were agreeing upon than disagreeing upon. Now, as the last question of today, because a lot of people are asking who is Brian Beamish, maybe you can stop sharing the screen so you can come back and the people can see your lovely face again, Brian. So many people are asking, okay, who is actually Brian? And it's also actually a question we at Crypto are asking ourselves. How were you teaching all those crazy stuff to DaVinci actually? So maybe you can give us a little bit of insight how you were teaching it to him, because as we can see is DaVinci was able within the last few months and years to predict the Bitcoin price quite well. So maybe you can give us an update about that.
Okay. I guess, just in a couple sentences, I got my first job in the stock market in 1988, the year following a pretty famous crash in the stock market. Basically working on and off in the industry for pretty much the past 30 years. I've done just about every single job possible in the stock market, including back office, compliance, research. I was a prop trader with a firm on the CME. I was a full service broker. I was licensed for commodities, options, derivatives, stocks, mutual funds, retirement. And then in 2013, I had a cousin of mine ask me, Brian, I got some of these Bitcoin things paid to me because I did a gig. What do you think about this thing called Bitcoin? And and so for the past 5 years, I have been into crypto big time.
Yeah, it's the best place to be in, man. It's the best place to be in.
Well, it's interesting. Remember I showed you that fear-greed cycle, the gold, silver, crypto analogy. Really, the ultimate question here for crypto is, can we move from a straight store of value story into an actual growth engine? But we won't necessarily get into that today. Maybe we can talk about that in the future. But the long and short of it here is, like I said, I did almost every single job possible. I managed $1 million books of client funds. Liam. DaVinci, Liam's my son's name, sorry. So I said DaVinci thinking he's my son subconsciously. People come to me because I've literally learned everything about the market over the past 30 years. Not everything. I'm always, we're all students of the market. We're constantly learning. It never changes. But I have learned enough that there are some very basic sort of rules that you have to follow if you want to win at this game. Things like you have to build a trading plan. You have to hold yourself to account. You have to control your emotions. You have to understand what type of risk taker you are. And you have to build the plan and identify the setups that you're interested in taking based on the type of risk taker you are. And Dav loves talking about little old lady. That's a type of risk taker. So, and then also too, what's really interesting is that a lot of people that I worked with in the trading community, they could be just awesome traders, but they are horrible educators. So I went through a very horrible tragedy 8 years ago, and it's interesting. Since that time, I literally lived my whole life by a simple acronym, PMA, positive mental attitude. And when I used to trade on the CME, everybody talked about PMA all the time. It's the only way you can win at being a trader over the long term, because you will be wrong. You have to accept that. So you got to build your plan so that your plan isn't dependent on you being right 100% of the time. But anyway, the point of the matter here is that I believe that I'm very articulate and I understand the concepts. And actually, a good measure of whether somebody actually understands the material is can they actually teach it to another person.
So how are you teaching it? How are you teaching it? That was the initial question in the first place. So
we have a website called therationalinvestor.com. On the website, we teach 3 different educational modules, sort of beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And actually a whole bunch of DaVinci's fans, and I think they're probably your fans as well, took the beginner course recently, and the feedback that I gotten from them is they're very, very happy. And I think I heard from Dav that he said that the feedback that he got from his people was that they were very pleased and they felt like they got really good value for their money spent. I could show you a summary of the program. Do we want to go back to screen sharing, or should we just leave that for today?
What we could also basically do is you can just maybe send us a link. We can put it in the description of the content of your course, and also maybe we can include a link of your course so everyone who is actually interested in that can check that out. And if they are willing to deep dive more into it, they can start with the beginner section or leave it like that.
Sure. Exactly. So in essence, we have therationalinvestor.com/learn. You can learn all about the programs, and I've included a nice sort of course summary. If people really want to take a deep dive into the market, you can see I think we have like 45 different modules that we teach in total across all the education programs. Everything from, I showed you like analyzing the futures markets to indicators to, trade location tools, et cetera, et cetera. It's very, very robust.
So concluding that you were the teacher, the professor, the mentor of DaVinci, and you have a course, and we will leave the link of your course in the description down below, and also
sure.
I think you have a document with the different, like, I don't know, sections and modules and so on. So maybe we can leave that in the comment section down below also, and the people can check it out.
My simple message to everybody is I never set myself up that I'm going to be right 100% of the time, because I haven't, in 30 years, I've never met anybody who is.
Yes.
30 years I've been at this game. Even the most pros are wrong sometimes. So as a result, as a professional trader, if you really want to do this professionally, you actually have to be extremely humble. So that's sort of, first basis of everything. Thank you very much for having me on here. It's a privilege. I love how Dav has taken these concepts. And the cool part about it, Dav, is, and this is what I like to do with my students, is I like to set the table. I like to say, look, here are all the different types of dinner forks. Here are all the different types of plates. Here are all the different types of glasses you can use, etc. Now, let's let you choose which tools you like that really speak to you, and we're going to build setups around the type of person you are. And it's great because Dav, he bought into the concept, and we have a setup on the site that in our screeners on the site, in our education program, that's called the Davo.
Yes.
Why? Because it was tools that really spoke to Dav. He back tested it, he liked the setup, and he just rocked it. And that's what my job is to do, is to simply show you, look at, we worked with one gentleman on the Coinergy shows.
I have to. Sorry,
we
it's
have
just
to go.
We are really, really
go.
close to 1 hour, and we have to close before 1 hour. Sorry, but
Okay.
all you said made perfectly sense. It was a big pleasure having you on the show, and you said thanks. We have to thank you also for coming into our show, dropping your knowledge bombs on us. Before we end today's episode, again, thank you so much, Brian Beamish, for taking your time and dropping all that knowledge bombs here. I will watch that show again. It was amazing. Da Vinci, do you have 1 or 2 sentences last, or I don't know, even more sentences to say before we wrap up today's episode?
Yes, I'm a little scared that people took some of the information from this episode and they're going to run out and spend money that they don't want to lose on the bets on the markets. And please do not do that. If you have tuition money, anything like that, and you're saying, well, you know what, Da Vinci said Ethereum's going up in August, I'm going to put my money on Ethereum. Don't do that, please.
Yes.
That's my only concern. Don't do that.
Thank you, guys. Be cautious with your funds. Be cautious. Only invest what you are willing to lose. So that being said, guys, make sure you smash up the like button, and we will see each other at the next MM Crypto episode. As always, guys, bye-bye.